Hello, welcome to Introduction to Databases and SQL. In this session, we are going to discuss not null and unique constraints. Let's begin. Before I straight away discuss about not null and unique, let's understand what we have did in the previous class. The previous class, we understood about the SQL integrity constraints, namely not null, unique, primary key, foreign key, default, and check constraints. So how do we implement them? So this is one example where most of those integrity constraints were implemented. We can see this. I'm creating a table student where this student code is not null and which is a primary key. I can specify the constraint like this at a column level, or I can specify at the table level also. Now I want student name as not null. And for student address, I don't have any constraint. And admission number, I want the admission number to be unique. So I can specify this unique constraint at the column level. And student age, I'm having a check constraints whenever student age is getting inserted. So age should be at least 5 years. So check set age greater than or equal to 5. So this is how the table is going to get created with the constraints. Okay, in fact, if this is the child table, I can actually have the foreign key also specified. And of course, default also can be specified. For example, student address varchar default, let's say Hyderabad, or let's say Pune or Mumbai. So that means this school is actually located in that particular city. So like this, we can actually specify all these integrity constraints in a table while you are creating the table statement, or you can actually modify the structure, the schema with the alter command. Okay, so now we are going to understand each of these constraints one after other. So in this session, our focus is on not null and unique constraints. Let's begin this. Yeah, so not null and unique constraint. So not null is easy to understand. By default, a column holds null values. A column holds null values. As an example, let me actually show you here. So let me check what is the database I'm into. Select database. I'm into MyDB. So let me show tables over here. Yeah, I have employee and employee table. So let's see actually DSE employee. Yeah, now you can understand. So by default, a column holds null values, right? So here, employee ID, employee name, city, pay, date of birth, everything are null. So null is yes, right? By default, a column holds null values. Now, I don't want null value. So what I can do is, I can actually use this not null constraints. Not null constraint enforces a column to not accept null values. So when you say not null, null value is not accepted. So a value is must. That means you cannot insert a new record or update a record without adding a value to this particular field. So you need to have a value into that particular field. Then only you can update it and you can insert a new record. Okay, so otherwise it will be null actually. So I'm saying it is not null. Okay, it's the simplest constraint. Now, how do we enforce this constraint? So while creating table, we can specify. So create table persons. Now I'm saying ID int not null. So I want that ID value to be not null. And I have L name. I want L name to be not null. I want F name and I have everything actually. So all the first three columns I want to be not null. Age, I want to keep null actually. So if I'm saying age int, it's by default going to be null actually. So that's what the first line. By default, a column holds null values. So let me create this particular table. Okay, let me copy this. I'm going to create over here. So before that, I will clear this. Yeah, so I'm going to copy this. So create table persons. Yeah, so of course, after copy, I press enter and it is getting created. So create table persons, ID int not null, LName not null, FName not null, age int. So now let's see DESC persons. Now you can actually see here null no. So ID null no, LName null no, FName null no, because I have kept them as not null. Age null yes. Age yes actually. Right. So now if you try to give no values, okay, for example, we said not null, so we are saying a value must be there. A value must be there. Okay, so you can't leave that particular field or a column. Let's test actually. So now I am saying insert into persons. What I want to give is I just want to give ID and F name and age. I want to give only these three values. I want to give only these three values. So I am making my L name null actually. Okay, so that's the meaning of the sentence. Insert into persons, ID, F name, age. So ID is 1, F name is let's say Ratan. Okay, and I'm giving age actually, let's say 78, whatever. Yeah, now you can actually see the constant is failed. Field L name doesn't have a default value. Field L name doesn't have a default value. I said it is not null, but I'm not providing a value. So the not null constant enforces a column not to accept null value. A value is must, and I'm not giving here. I must have to give it. So now let's see here. How do I change this? Is now I have to give it. So now I say L name, comma F name. So now I'm saying 1. L name is actually Tata. Then I have the F name as Ratan and then 78. So this is valid actually. The query okay, and I can actually select star from these persons. So now okay, select star from persons. I said 8 from persons and it is showing me 8 only. Yeah, you can see ID 1, L name Tata, F name Ratan and 78. Okay, so when you say not null, the value must have to be given actually. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to alter this table. I want to alter this table because everything is not null except age. Everything is null except age actually here, right? So age is null. So I want to make age also null. So what I can do, already I have created table. So table is already existing, right? Now what I can do is in order to make that not null constant over here, so I'm going to change the schema. I'm going to change the structure. So alter table persons. What I want to do is I want to modify. Okay, so modify alter table persons, modify the field age. Earlier it is age int. Now I'm modifying this age int and I'm saying it is not null. Yeah, now let's actually describe persons. Now you can see the age also null. No, it's not null actually. Okay, it's a not null value. Okay, if you want see how the table got created now. So show create table persons. Then you will see everything is not null. So ID int not null, L name not null, F name not null, age int not null actually. Okay. So if at all you want to enforce constraints, most of the time while creating the structure itself, while creating the table itself, we have to enforce the constraints. If not, we can actually alter the structure. So in this case, I'm actually adding not null to one of the fields, that is age actually. Okay. So this is about not null constraints. And of course, there are a few more things we can discuss while creating and altering the tables. So that I will discuss with a unique constraint. Okay, so we can actually best conceptualize that particular thing while using unique or primary key. So now let's understand unique constraint. So what is unique constraint? So unique constraint means no duplicate values. A column shouldn't have a duplicate value. So there should not be two rows with one value, right? If more than one row with one value, then it's a duplicate. Unique means it should be unique actually. So now let's understand about the unique key constraints. So unique constraints ensures that all the values in a column are different. There are no duplicates. You cannot actually have a duplicate. All the values must be unique. So that's about the unique key constraint. And so when you speak of unique key constraint, so people always confuse with unique key and primary key. So we need to actually understand the two differences actually. So both unique and primary key constant provide a guarantee for uniqueness, right? If you say primary key and unique, duplicates are not allowed, right? What is the difference? A primary key constant automatically has a unique constraint. So when you say primary, automatically it has a unique constraint, right? So both will not allow any duplicate. However, there can be many unique keys or many unique constraint in a table, but there should be only one primary key. In a table, there should be only one primary key, but you can actually have a number of unique keys. That is one difference. Another thing is unique can have null values. Okay, unique can have null values. So this is another difference. Whereas the primary key always not null. When you speak of a primary key, we'll discuss, however, again, primary key is unique and primary key is not null. And primary key is only one for whole of a table. Only one primary key will be there, but you can have a number of unique keys. Unique keys can be null. So that's the difference. And yeah, so let's understand this unique key with the help of some example here. Already we have created a table called persons. Now I would like to create a table called person only, not persons. I am going to create a table called person only. I don't want to get the same name actually. So what I'm doing here is create table person, ID not null, L name not null, F name not null, age I'm keeping null only. Okay, but what I'm saying is unique of ID. So there are two ways actually this table can be created. Okay, so this is one way we can create. Otherwise, what I can do is that unique I can actually make as part of my first line itself. So create table person. Okay, so let's understand this. Yeah. Create table person, ID int not null. After that, before putting the comma, I can say unique. Just I say unique. And I need not to mention over here. Otherwise, I can actually specify the constraint at the end. Okay, so let me now run this. Okay, so there is an error actually here. Oh, so the last thing has not got copied actually. Let me copy once again. Otherwise, we will write, not a problem. So this is one way. Otherwise, what we can do is we can create a table. Okay, so you're saying person, right? The person table, what all I want to have is I want ID that is integer and that is not null. At the same time, I can actually specify unique. So at the table level only, column level only, I'm specifying it. ID int not null unique. So let me write in the next line actually. And then I have L name that is varchar of, let's say, some 20. And I want to keep it not null. So we understood what is not null. by this time. And fname is also varchar, and which actually take size 10, let us assume, and is also not null. And I have age int. Okay, if at all I want to make age unique, I can actually still I can make init age int unique. I can make this unique, not a problem. So it need not to be not null. It need not to be not null. So unique allows null values also. Age int unique. So whenever the value is there, it should be unique. It can be null also. Okay, so that's it. Okay, after this, I can actually close this. So now I have two columns which are unique. Let me create the table. So query is okay. Let's actually describe this particular table person. Now you can actually see, so ID is a unique key. It's not a primary key, but by default in the structure it is coming like that. ID is unique key, and age is also unique key only. Even though it is saying primary key, because I have mentioned as not null and unique, right? So not null and unique, by default it's going to be a primary key. That's why it is treating as primary key, but it's actually unique key only. Okay. So since it is unique, I cannot give a duplicate value. Let's test that actually. Let's test that. Okay. So now what I want to do is insert into person. I want to give values. All values I am going to give actually. So when I say values, all values. Right. So ID is 1 and L name is Tata and name is actually Ratan and age is, let's say, some 80 years. Okay, query okay. And select star from person, you will actually see the data. Okay, so now what I'm trying to do is I am trying to insert the same record again. I want to give the ID value which is unique again. I want to give the age which is again unique. So now let's see actually what's happened. So duplicate entry 1 for the person.id. So your ID you are saying it is unique, but it's a duplicate. So now I am changing my value to here. But again, my age is duplicate, right? Age is duplicate. Okay, so because age I have made unique. Of course, we should not make age unique, but I have made, for example. Now let's see actually here, duplicate entry 80 for the age. So whenever you say unique, it will not allow duplicate values. So that's how it will be actually. So now if at all I want, I can actually give another name. Let's say age is 90. And instead of saying Ratan, what I'm doing over here is Jamshed. Row affected. And when I select now, I will be having 2 rows with the 2 person names actually. Okay, so this is how we are going to create a unique key constraint. This is one way. Okay, so there is another way actually. There is another way. So this is the another way. In fact, in order to specify constraints, you have 4 ways. All the 4 I am telling here. 2 ways in create table and 2 ways with alter table actually. So all the 4 I am going to discuss here as part of the unit. The same thing will follow in foreign key, primary key, etc. The second way is, so here what we did, we have specified our unique key as part of the column. Even at the table level also you can specify. Okay. But here we can actually specify with the help of a constraint keyword. With the help of a constraint keyword. So now what I'm doing is I'm dropping the table actually. So drop table person. Okay, then you say show tables and your person table is not there. Only persons is there. So now what I'm going to create? I'm going to create a table with another thing actually. So let me actually, I have the syntax already available. I just change that syntax. It's not a big deal. Okay, let me have that. Okay, so create table person ID int not null. So this is there. And the next actually, now I will be having the other command. So L name varchar not null. But here in the first row, I need to do something actually. So let me control C this. Again, let me go for this one, create table. Because I have to remove that unique, right? Because I want to add the unique constraint. Yeah, what I do here is persons, create table persons, ID, int, it's not null. So this is there. Okay, but I'm not keeping it's actually unique. So comma, I'm going for the next actually. So now I have L name. I have the L name available. So let me actually, yeah, L name varchar to 20 not null. And then I have F name also. Let me get that one as well. F name, that's also there. Then I have age actually. I think age int unique is there, but I am not keeping as unique, just age int. After that, after putting the comma here, now I can actually write a constraint here. I'm making a constraint. So with the keyword constraint, I'm going to create a constraint. Whenever you use constraint keyword, you have to use the constraint name. Okay, so I'm saying unique constraint on this particular table, that is person. Constraint underscore person, that is the constraint name. What constraint I'm going to create unique constraint on what? So now I would like to create unique constraint on not one value, one column, but multiple columns that we can actually do. So in a table, I want a combination of columns to be unique, not just a single field or a column. For a primary key or a unique key, we can actually have that thing possible, right? So constraint, UC person, unique. So now I want the ID and the ID and the last name to be unique. ID and the last name to be unique, whatever actually, ID and age or ID and last name or first name, whatever you feel. I want this ID and the last name to be unique. So I am done actually. Right here, I am done with the create table. So create table person, ID not null, L name not null, F name not null, age can be null. And now I'm going to create a constraint name, and whatever the constraint, on which columns the constraint is defined. So I want ID and L name. So now let's see actually. So query is okay. So ID is not null and L name is also not null, just like it's a primary key, right? So now that's why when you see DES person, and you will just see like primary key. ID, it says primary, L name it's primary, but it's not a primary, it's unique only. But by default, it is becoming like a primary. Okay. So now I would like to enter data to test the unique key. So I am going to test it actually. So how to test? I want to insert some data. So insert into person. Okay. So I want to insert ID and L name. ID, L name, F name also mandatory because that is not null, right? I want to insert only these three values. Age can be null actually. So insert into person ID, L name, F name values. Now I am going to give values 1 and L name again Tata and F name again I say Rathan. That's it. This is one record. So one record inserted. Okay, so if I write again Tata, 1 comma Tata, it will not allow. So if I say Birla, 1 comma Birla Rathan, it will allow because my uniqueness is ID and LN. So one Tata and one Birla is different actually. But whenever I say, for example, one again Tata here, there is a problem because already that 1 comma Tata is there. So now it's a duplicate actually, right? So that's how any constraint will enforce the data to be available in a proper way. Hope you have understood. Let's actually move to, so let me say system CLS so that everything will get cleared off. Yeah. So this is the second way. So while creating the table itself, you have two ways. You can mention actually this unique key or primary key at the column level or at the table level. Second way is by using the constraint keyword, constraint name, etc. For example, already table is created. Now you want to give unique keys. Okay, you want to enforce the unique constraint. So how you are going to do? Again, there are two ways. Okay, so for example, age was there actually, right? I want to make it as unique. I can actually do alter table person, and what I'm doing is I'm adding the unique keyword, unique constraints. Add unique on what? Okay, so I want to keep it on age. I want my age to be unique, or otherwise I want my F name to be unique. Alter table person, add unique of F name. Okay. F name, it's not allowing me because I think we have the data already, right? Let me actually select star from person. Yeah. So F name already Ratan is there. Now I am trying to make it unique. So it's not possible. Already duplicate is there. I cannot make it again unique. So for that, what I do is I will delete it. Delete from person. Okay. Where L name equal to, so only one I have to delete actually. Well, L name equal to, let's say Birla. Okay, delete it. Now let me actually alter the table by adding the F name unique, because there is only one value, right? Now you can see, yeah, it's affected actually. Earlier, this is giving me an error because already I have a duplicate entry, right? So now let me actually say disk person. Now F name also unique. Okay, ID and LM commonly unique and F name also. Okay, so this is the third way. This is the third way. So what is the fourth way to specify? What is the fourth way to specify actually? So the fourth way is by using again the constraint keyword actually. So what I can do is alter table person. Now I want to add a constraint. Add. Now here I have to use again the constraint keyword. Constraint and constraint name actually. So constraint and constraint name. Right. So for example, constraint name. So you see person one, unique constraint person one. Otherwise, I can say person age. I am going to create on person age. Okay, I will say unique age. So age, there is no unique constraint, right? I want to add for age actually. So alter table person add. I'm using the constraint keyword. Right? It's okay. So now this is also working. So let me actually say a DSC person. Then everything is unique actually, right? So everything in the sense F name is unique, age is unique, ID and L name both combined are unique actually. Okay, so these are the four ways. See, if you remember, create table and you can add the constraint as part of column or table level, or by using constraint keyword. While altering also, you can straight away add that one as a field. Otherwise, by making use of the constraint keyword, you can actually do that. Okay, and the last thing is you can drop the constraint also. If at all, we can drop the constraint also. So how to drop? Again, alter table is required. Alter table person, and how to drop? Because you have created a constraint with some names, right? So alter table person, and you can actually make use of the constraint name. So drop constraint, whatever the constraint is there, and you can give the name. So now recently I have added UC person age. So I will actually remove that UC person underscore age. Yeah, query okay. And it's got dropped actually. If at all you want to see, now you can see that earlier it was unique along with age and it's not there. Right? So if at all you use this constraint keyword to add, then dropping is easy. Otherwise, if at all you want to drop a constraint alone, you have to completely drop the column, or you have to drop, or you have to modify the column. So better you have a constraint created, and we can actually drop that particular constraint, right? So this is about the constraints, both not null and unique. Of course, these two are very basic constraints. I hope you have understood. In the next class, we will understand about other important constraints like default, primary key, foreign key, and check. Thank you.